on this patch.
Always can see perhaps a little bit of a wrinkle when you got Levi on the other team. It looks like for now Kiaya will be locking in that Rumble, which has been a very powerful pick for him throughout just this season and also his entire career. When we talk about young players, you got Siwoo and Lucid, but Kiaya also, really rising up over the past couple of seasons. He's 21. He's one of the younger players on this team, and it's been fun to watch his growth over the past couple of years on the international stage.
Oh, it's definitely proven that he's an internationally competitive top laner. And coming out of that region, I mean, that's not one of the regions that's always considered to be the strongest globally. So whenever you prove you can be competitive with the best of them, which is all Kiaya has really done whenever we've seen him go international. Definitely a player I was looking forward to covering today in that top lane match between him and Siwoo. That's one of the young stars of the LCK that has really been emerging up there. As I did tease the Jarvan and the Wukong being the likely handshake at the moment. Rumble that OP, Orianna also very powerful. And it's looking like Lucid's going to choose the Wukong side of that expected handshake between the Wukong and the Jarvan.
Wukong, Orianna, the mid-jungle selected here for DK. We'll see if that Jarvan will be selected for Levi. Definitely a lot of memories with him on this champion specifically throughout the years, but be something with a little bit more flair. Could be a fun thing to watch as well. I see the Lee Sin hover, and I'm not going to speak on that just yet in full, but man, would that be a fun way for them to wrap up their group stage of this tournament. Also look for other areas of the map as well. Bot lane still yet to be locked in for either side, but we're going to get a rise here for Aress, and we'll see if the jungle pick will finally get selected here.
Yeah, that Trundle being hovered as late as it was, I wasn't expecting to see that. I guess it still was technically an option if you're really looking to dissuade something like a Sion being played top, which is viable into Rumble between Sion and Ornn. Definitely options you can go with, but will be that Jarvan coming in, so Orianna being immobile, something to think about. And if aiming wants to get an AD that can deal with Jarvan, gonna have to pick up something like that here. So if you want to get a Kai'Sa, a Lucian, that could be two options, or even the Azrael, that aiming can get to really make sure you're able to play around that flag and drag if you are missing flash.
So that final lock-in is here in this first rotation. Probably just completing that top side. Ornn, much better into Rumble, especially with the recent nerfs that ended up happening, but instead looking for a little bit more damage and a little bit more flair. See that Mbessa gets selected, and we'll wait for our bot laners into phase 2.
Definitely one that I felt like Siwoo played all right. A few games I was able to catch from the LCK. Definitely not as many games of the past compared to other splits where I was either covering the LCK or just following that over the LPL. Was one of the big changes that I had, as this was the first year where I covered the LPL more than the LCK. Definitely a big one. But Grapes, as we dive in, I do think that's something at least we have seen from our LCK teams, their ability to play objective setups and play S5, and also I think some of the Mbesses that are piloted from the top laners over there. Definitely a champion that has really been mastered both in the LPL and the LCK, and Siwoo's Mbessa, see if it's up to the task.
I mean, I'm curious to see how exactly the clash of regions ends up working here again with these teams facing off against each other. Obviously, with a lot of LPL and LPL action that we've gotten to watch, haven't gotten as much of an opportunity to watch the LCK and the LCP, as they normally go on very similar timings as whenever we're on the air or sleeping in most cases, try to catch up there. So I know there's always different perhaps biases or expectations for each region. Maybe LCP more aggressive, LCK on the more passive side, but I feel like those expectations have been kind of not flipped around, but not necessarily the same for each region, at least for this season, going and just watching stuff globally. So it's been fun to see, even though these teams won't be playing at Worlds, getting the chance to go against each other here and getting us a preview of maybe how each region's strength truly is going into the World Championships in a couple of days.
Yeah, I definitely feel like LCK is going to be the favored region from everything I've seen so far, but I think
not against Weibo, baby.
Again, there are the middle of the pack teams from the regions that are clashing here, and it has been a rather fun tournament so far. As this round of bans thrown out in the phase. No Corki, no Rakan for Dplus. Did mention that Lucian being an option. I thought it would be a Kai'Sa they were setting up for with the Jhin and the Xayah bans, but no. Going to be the Lucian for aiming, with BeryL going to be able to find that pairing on 5. Definitely options to play something like a Nami or Emilio, but going to be the Kate Braum snag, so the Braum denied from the Lucian.
Yeah, I mean, that's big. Also, the Caitlyn here for Artemis is going to make things a little bit more difficult for aiming and BeryL to operate on in the laning phase, just with that range advantage. And I think for GAM, having the ability to set up some winning lanes for yourself is definitely a good situation for them. The Namis, the Milio is always a good pairing alongside Lucians, but we've been seeing more engaged supports paired alongside the champion, regardless of whether they can help proc that passive or not. Just added aggression. It looks like that's what BeryL's going to get in one of his favorite champions in the realm.
I do like that Kate Braum snag from GAM. It's Artemis' first Caitlyn of the summer, but I think the idea of the Kate Braum, it's a very guaranteed combo later on. Trying to find the traps being chained up. Tenacity can help you against that, but then you'll have the steel caps, so you'll be eating the full damage of the headshots. Rel, Kit definitely helps get out of that one a little bit, but yeah, I kind of like that takeaway. If you're going to take away the Braum, I think Kate Braum can be really nice into the Lucian, just with the range advantage that Caitlyn has. Lucian can play around it with the combos, and of course the piercing light, but I think that's actually a pretty good idea from GAM, and definitely makes... at least they have like that Braum Rumble combo that they can try and find to have some of these big mid-game fights, with the Kate Braum being that bridge for the later game potential.
Yeah, I mean, something that we have definitely seen from GAM throughout these first 2 matches of the group stage at the very least is they love to fight in that mid-game, getting the correct objective setups and executing on that and building on those leads. That's how they were able to get that win 2-0 over JDG just, I believe it was yesterday or it was yesterday. All the days kind of flowing together here as we really been on a whirlwind here at the ASI.
I couldn't hold that yawn back. That's a tough start. We got 2 series to go here, Grapes. We got a lot on the line. Is the second seeds on the line for this best of 3 and the next one.
See our champions being locked in. Game number 1 of a best of 3. See whether the LCK or the LCP will be the second representative out of Group A. Obviously, FearX already qualifying into the tournament via the first seed of Group B. There's still a chance, Cubby, that all 3 LCK teams participating can make it into the knockout stage. We'll see if that happens. It starts with a win here from Dplus KIA against GAM. Will that happen? We'll find out as we're on to the draft, or the game, I should say, game number 1. Cubby, I know you're waiting for the Gyos. We are on a remote broadcast, so there's nothing to wait for. So analyze away, my friend.
Just let me hope, let me wish, let me fall into the routine that is the LPL English. I was taking a sip of water anyway. You didn't need to wrap me out like that, Grapes. Throwing under the bus early.
I had a great toss to you, and I had the alley-oop, and there was nobody there to dunk it down. So I just
let it breathe. It's fine. It's all right. Dunking it down to start on off. Going to be Lucid on his blue buff, as it will be a bot to top clear for him, mirrored by Levi, who is starting out his own blue buff, and will be working his way towards his bot side.
So this is strategy we've seen a couple of times here at the ASI. Yep. Just bringing your AD carry up to the top lane, having him farm solo for a couple of minutes, or just to make sure that everybody has a little bit more of a favorable matchup. And you know what? This actually ends up working out very well for both sides of the map. If you are Dplus KIA, you didn't want to play into the Caitlyn lane, and the Rumble, obviously, here for the Mbessa is not the greatest early on, so you're able to at least keep things in a decent spot for the first few minutes.
Good trade there by Artemis, but I'm kind of with you there, Grapes. I feel like Lucian into Rumble, you can play that out pretty soundly early on, whereas Mbessa can get pushed around. And then on the flip side, we did see Artemis get some work in a trade on the BeryL, but nothing being broken on the bot side as Mbessa able to absorb everything. So this is a way to kind of push Rumble around a bit, and getting Lucian accelerated with solo XP can be valuable, as he gets a lot out of his abilities, especially with that W damage that a lot of Lucians are taking next. So yeah, I like this start for Dplus. I feel like this is a very appropriate swap for them this game. Gets them out of some troughs that they would experience in the first 3 levels of a couple of lanes.
again, as you're seeing BeryL, leash this red buff here for Lucid, wants to make sure that the lane swap penalties are not issued. I think that's at 3 minutes, so that's why waiting to get towards that area and basically giving an opportunity at least for Siwoo to hit level 3 early on. We see Levi finishing off his full clear towards the bottom side, so we have that split map, as you can say. We'll see maybe if this Ambessa gets dove here. Should be a decently easy target for the side of GAM Esports. Who's going to start the tanking? It looks like it will be Elio. And he'll be able to get out there nicely. Flag and Dragon from Levi, and that makes it first blood. But it is a trade on the other side as that Braum took one too many tower shots.
Yeah, that's fine. Flash not burned by the Braum was necessary to get out, but again, just winner's bite. Easy chain from there with a flag and drag. Makes it so that trap hits easily. On the
Your move,
side,
DK. Can you pull this off a little bit better? The answer is yes. As Kiaya will fall and BeryL survives about 100 HP before popping that biscuit.
Another easy one as that wave gets lost. And yeah, I mean, honestly, Grapes, I think early on, Ambessa able to keep up a bit with the experience. So only win if you could say there was any, but BeryL living. Not bad on the dive up top as Dplus, I guess, get the first edge of the game.
So yeah, the fact that they go 1-0 versus 1-1 gives themselves a little bit of a lead to start off this game. Obviously, both bot laners going to be slightly accelerated here, as we do have a bit of a pause. Obviously, the fact that we are remote here for this tournament, both to save some time and resources, but also to make sure all these players are playing from the comfort of their home countries, does mean that there are a couple of, connectivity issues potentially at times, and so that is what we are, I assume, waiting for here. I will say, yeah, our last series didn't necessarily have this, so I was expecting maybe, there's been some issues with the servers over the past couple of days that maybe things have been fixed, but, we're going to let you guys know about any more information as it comes. Yeah,
the joys of remote broadcasting, but do want to highlight, I mean, one of the interesting...
You've been a part of that recently.
Yeah, right? I haven't quite the party the Grapes. Positively and regretfully so at times, but either way. Do want to focus back on the players in the match we have here. I think there's a pretty interesting story actually in the mid lane for GAM with Aress, who really didn't step into the team until he ended up playing finals against Secret Whales, and it feels like for this tournament, they're at least they're rocking with him. Whether it's a trial or this is a more permanent solution for GAM, it's been pretty interesting to see them kind of swap up mid laners here.
That is true. Hey, obviously the season was not going as expected.
Yeah.
For GAM, in that season finals, dropping series to Team Secret Whales and obviously other teams like PSG and Flying Oysters, right? But trying to find something to make things work. We'll see if this mid lane solution is one to do so, because having those swaps come in always an interesting situation. But getting a first look at Aress so far in this tournament, it's been pretty good overall. Obviously, getting the chance to play against somebody like Scout and Xiaohu over these past 2 series is hopefully some good experience.
Yeah, ShowMaker gonna go hard as well. As early on, Aress has a bit of a CS lead in ShowMaker, so not a bad start for him in the mid lane. As we do see the 2v1s emerge in both of our side lanes here, with our top laners trying to get what scraps they can, as Siwoo going to get zoned off this cannon minion.
And in general, this should mean GAM looking for early dragons, while DK be looking for those grubs in a couple of minutes. As I say that, Kiaya still has his flash, so should be all right here, but you can see the harass that he's taken with his wave in a really bad spot. GAM know that they need to respond on the other side, so they will look for dive part 2. Siwoo again still has his flash, but that concussive blows makes things way too easy. However, Siwoo is able to flash away. Another tower shot is going to go on to Artemis, and now Levi gonna have to do a majority of the tanking, as this Ambessa has done a really good job to try to keep himself alive. The flag and drag does not connect, and it will be another 1-for-1 trade.
Oh no, the flag and drag from Levi wasn't able to find its target. 1-for-1 trade as Siwoo gets another scrap as a part of the dive, and meanwhile Rumble, he's getting scrapped on this top side as he can't get in range of the wave for the golden XP.
Oh, and Kiaya suddenly overheating and forcing aiming down about 100 HP. He's out of mana as well, and no flash underneath the turret with that wave. Taking a little bit of while to get there. I don't think this is a doable play for Dplus, so they will back away. However, still net positive for them based off of that 1-for-1 for the Ambessa.
Yeah, no, I do think that Siwoo finding these 1-for-1s really big for the experience diff between both of our top laners. Siwoo's actually been able to stay ahead, or pretty much caught up with the Rumble, just because he has traded out 1-for-1 and gotten the experience from the kills. So, do think that's important for when he ends up finding that matchup later on, because later on, Ambessa can deal with the Rumble once you get a couple of items. So, expecting Siwoo to find that one later, but at the moment, still on the bot side. And both of our junglers are around Dragon, but gotta imagine with the trend that we've seen in this tournament and globally so far, Grapes really emerged throughout the domestic playoff runs that we had. Teams globally pretty much prioritizing the grubs over the first Dragon. Just the value you can get if you get 2 or 3 grubs and finding that first brick and getting those plates for 5 minutes of free time. Teams deeming too important and definitely prioritizing that fight over the Dragon fight.
And it looks like, at least for the moment, that is going to be a trend that continues with now Artemis and Elio joining, aiming, and BeryL up there on the top side of the map. As you do have those grubs spawning in just about 30 seconds time. Gold's still pretty even though, and hey, good showing for our LCP representatives going up against a team, Cubby, that a lot of people had kind of slated to go to Worlds from the LCK and Dplus at the start of the year.
KT was a bit of a surprise, I guess, in that sense. Less of a surprise throughout the year, as BDD and the rest of the squad did really earn it. And Duckdom, I was really surprised they went with Duckdom at the start of the year, but he really grew as a player. So we have a fight topside. BeryL
blown.
Flash
Yeah,
for
a
flash
lot of
against
summoner
Artemis.
spells. Meanwhile, they got a 1v1 in the jungle that is being won by Lucid, solo killing Levi. On the other side of things, though, it is the bot lane of GAM to get another kill, but Lucid is just too strong. Dashes in to Aress, who realm warped in to try to help out his jungler, but he pays for it with his life. Overall, a 2-for-1 in favor of DK.
Great find from Lucid, had the XP advantage against Levi, was able to use that to help win the 1v1, and this Wukong getting gold like this early in the grubs. Wukong gets so big, can scale so hard as a champion as Trinity Force Plus. Big spikes from him as, yeah, Levi was just kind of caught out with no EQ. Lucid takes him down, gets 7 off the kill. That gets him ahead of Levi in experience and chases down the Rise. Really good play and recognition by Lucid, who's now very fed on this Wukong. And we have really seen Wukongs take over games if they get accelerated and get that early Trinity Force going.
Good start here for Lucid, one of the most exciting young players out of the LCK. Obviously him and Siwoo, both from the Challenger system, really impressing a lot of people and earning these spots over some of the more experienced members that have been on DK over the past couple of seasons. And
hey, man.
we saw Lucid earn his keep last year at the World Championships. We're still waiting to see this topside course first appearance at International. That is not, the premier tier 1 international tournaments, I think we should say. But hey, it's a good start, right? Against a team like GAM, who's normally at these events.
Again, not surprised. I think that a lot of the times with Dplus as a squad, it's just more so consistency. We know they can hit the high highs to be a very good League of Legends team. It's just, how many days of the week do they do that? Can they string together, 5 good enough games to win 3? Dplus has struggled with that, doing that consistently, and it comes from a lot of members. It's Siwoo and Lucid being younger, BeryL at times, a bit of a flipper. I think ShowMaker a little bit as well. Sometimes the weird picks work, sometimes they don't. We love ShowMaker for it all the same. As at the moment, standard picking the Orianna, doing quite well. Looks like he's almost forced out Aress in the top side. And Dplus could actually play for that outer. So have first brick on the table, and if Dplus secure that, would be feats for them.
See that shockwave blown by ShowMaker to chunk Aress nearly to fatal there. Gonna have to go back and likely teleport up to the top lane, which could make this Dragon a bit of an easy pick-in for Dplus if they so desire. Aress actually staying around. And ShowMaker playing very aggressive. However, with Levi walking up, ShowMaker now knows he has a path only forward, and he flashes in to take Aress down. He's now going to channel that teleport. He should get out there all fine and dandy. A brilliant play from the mid laner of DK.
No get in range for Levi as, well, ShowMaker. He's got the blue suede shoes on, and I'd say the blue jeans too. He sneaks that out of there. Flash blown by Kiaya. BeryL was rocking the Spellbook Ghost, trying to close the gap. Not going to look for the play, as Flash on the Rumble is enough for Dplus to snag out of it. So 1K gold lead and a couple plays being won by Dplus and some tools being taken away where they can look to rinse and repeat as well. Looking at Kiaya losing that Flash for sure.
So DK will start up this first dragon of the game, which is that mountain. ShowMaker, obviously, without that teleport, won't be able to join this fight, and so GAM actually end up overtaking the area with just a pure numbers game. And they should be able to burn this one down. First one of this game claimed here for GAM. As now we're starting to see that mid diff start build up tremendously. Aress down 2 levels to the likes of ShowMaker, showing why that experience is perhaps a little bit important here.
Orianna can be so valuable this game, just given the ball and the ability to zone, buy space against the comp of GAM. And of course, you have a range advantage against the Rise and the Rumble, outside of Rumble ult. So, ability to try and find poke as well, which we have seen ShowMaker do very well in the 1v1, as ours has been behind him a couple times where we've actually looked up there and seen him.
Great, you get a little bit of a pause here. Yeah, I mean, just seeing the younger players from both teams and seeing what they potentially have to offer is going to be a fun thing to watch throughout the series. You have the top side, obviously, of DK. You have Kiaya and Artemis over on GAM, who do have that international experience, but could be joined alongside the likes of Aress, who's, of course, looking to make a name for himself as well. As you get back to live, overall, about a 1,000 gold lead opened up here for DK, but GAM unrelenting in their aggression, looking for a bit of a scrap in this top side 2v2. Siwoo and Lucid going a little bit on the defensive here, as Lucid's going to have to clone away from that equalizer that has been popped. But Aress teleporting in, looking to actually go for the throat here onto this Wukong. Lands that Rune Prison, the ace in the hole has already come down. Siwoo has no more dashes left and decides not to burn the flash until it is too late. Will go down as GAM get themselves another.
Still a lot burned by GAM to not get too much on the map. They're going to get that bot wave in, but Dplus still farming 2 waves out. As okay, they get BeryL's flash out, gets out of the glacial fissure, but ShowMaker's going to net first brick, and that's going to be feats for Dplus secured off the back half of that play. So I think Orianna getting some free time and free farm in the top side. Pretty worth Siwoo going down, and that play made for Dplus because they got first brick, they got feats, and ShowMaker going to be really happy having a Roa in inventory on his next base.
So it's the aggressive, finds here for GAM, but it comes at the cost of Dplus leaving their other players in the side lanes, farming up waves, getting these tower plates, and still results in that gold basically being even from where we were just about a minute ago before those kills ended up taking place. You mentioned ShowMaker being very powerful. The top side of the map overall for Dplus KIA, looking towards the higher side here. Meanwhile, towards the bottom lane, perhaps this Caitlyn, that lane that was trying to get ahead in the early game, is 2-0-2 and has that first item, which is great, but aiming has done a nice job of keeping up in that income as well.
I think if it's an IE second for Artemis, like I expect, that's a pretty big spike for Caitlyn. As those headshots, I mean, if you're able to crit with the IE and the headshot, that is a lot of damage that you have to deal with. So, Caitlyn, of course, very sneaky late game. I think everyone talks about the power trough that Caitlyn has, but finding that, especially with the Braum later on, I mean, you get to 4 or 5 items as Caitlyn. The consistency of having those winner's bite rocks into the traps and into plays for Caitlyn, and it's pretty nice. I like this combo a lot. It definitely was one that was really abused in the LCK Challengers League, and I think LCK definitely has a more propensity to play this compared to other regions, and I think they play well.
Definitely so. I mean, we saw aiming and BeryL do some good work in the mid lane with that culling that's already been used, and it's given pressure for Lucid to start up this Herald. However, here goes Levi with the Cataclysm forward onto aiming, and should be able to take him down all too easy. And response, it is the Herald picked up by Lucid, and they will get out with just that major objective being claimed. But you can see GAM continuously looking for kills, looking for plays when these aggressive cooldowns are available for them.
And Rift Arrow was picked up, and now Dplus going to try and get back to this mid-outer turret. That wave, though, is almost out, and Levi's going.
On to ShowMaker, but it's a nice Magnus Storm in response here from BeryL, and Lucid will land that Cyclone as well. Siwoo going to survive that initial damage that comes through from Kiaya, and Lucid going to go forward, nearly get himself a triple, but he ends up falling as Artemis is still full HP, has that lethal tempo proc, but the public execution comes down on top of him. Artemis targeting the wrong player potentially, but it will result in those health bars continuing to drop. ShowMaker gets him a triple kill, and a wild fight around the mid lane results in overall a 4 for 5 in favor of DK.
Couple of moments where individuals were able to shine, with ShowMaker shining at the end. Artemis stepped up, actually had a nice fight on the Caitlyn, who was ahead going in, but ShowMaker shut everything down. I think that he played out of the initial engage from Levi well, as it was an early shockwave to get the first kill onto Levi. That was quite nice from Dplus as him and BeryL sync up here. Levi falls, and now it's really the fight that goes into Artemis's hands as Siwoo steps on a trap when he wraps up the TP. Artemis able to step forward, pop those winner's bite procs, had a nice chain there with the trap, found BeryL on a trap too. Very good from Artemis, but ShowMaker on the Orianna, it's him with his own control that could step up to shut down the Caitlyn, and with him and Siwoo syncing up, it was a nice public execution and a great flash forward that was the actual public execution from ShowMaker to make sure the fight went Dplus's way.
Yeah, I mean, just the game sense for Siwoo, despite being very low on HP, to find that public execution onto Artemis ended up being game-changing and just making it a little bit more difficult for this Caitlyn to play things out, resulted in ShowMaker getting very far ahead in this game at this point. 4-0-3, now has that second full item in the Seraphs, both completed and upgraded, and you can see the damage he's able to do on a Kiaya here on the bottom side. Meanwhile, we got another solo kill up top lane as Siwoo is able to take down Aress, and BeryL is looking for a two-man Magnus Storm as Artemis is now caught out of position. In come the ultis from Lucid and aiming, and it results in a double kill going over to the Wukong.
I mean, frankly, the mid-diff was just felt everywhere on the map, because it was ShowMaker finding the chunk on the Kiaya. It was Siwoo able to shut down the Rise topside, who really has been set behind by ShowMaker and better laning throughout this game. And then the rest of Dplus just finding that advantage in the 3v3 as Lucid steps up and finds the kill. And now Levi,
well, you know, GAM, no way to go but forward. Yep. And maybe a little bit too far forward here for the Jarvan. Ends up getting taken down as 4 members of Dplus here to protect the aiming, as he will be able to survive. Second dragon of the game. First for DK on the way. As we get a look at the solo kill here in picture-in-picture. No ultimate used by Siwoo on this one.
I think he pops it a little bit later. It was a good Q2, and he just kind of stuck him on the wall. Oh my god, he didn't even need it. Wow, I mean, that's a big one from Siwoo. Dragon secured Grapes, and what impressive work from Dplus KIA in the last 4 minutes here, really, since the Rift Herald. The break open, the 6K gold lead almost. Really been off the back of ShowMaker, but great play as a team as another Shockwave is going to come out, and that gets the flash out of Kiaya.
We said coming in, the mid games for GAM have been exciting, specifically in their win over JDG just yesterday, but obviously when you're playing up against the likes of ShowMaker, likes of Lucid, who's a world-class player in his own right, things get a little bit more challenging against the LCK 5 seed, and so we're seeing GAM be faced with a little bit of adversity here. We'll see if they can have an opportunity to come back in this game or in the series. As it looks like it might not happen here in this game specifically, as Elio will go down again. The way the Lucian is able to snowball here in this mid-game is going to be very, very important. See our Grasshopper maybe shifting over to the GAM side. I don't know if he's seeing the same game I'm seeing, Cubby, but my confidence would not be increased off of this situation.
Liar, plants for hire over there.
Oh, he wishes he had some plants for hire. He's feeling hungry right now, probably.
I mean, I would like to hire some plants to put on the Dplus side to make sure that he's right, not lying, like the filthy liar he is.
I thought you were going to say something else about plants for hire, but it's okay.
You know, Grapes, there's a major difference between male and female grasshoppers.
Okay, what is that?
I don't want to get into it, but let's just say that one elects to end their life after a certain very important life act for them.
I think Are you talking about the praying mantis, or does that
Yes.
apply to the same people? Okay, whatever. We got Otacon
yeah.
starting up here as into the bush plant Levi goes, but it's not going to be enough to secure the objective. It's already taken by Lucid. Meanwhile, we have Siwoo and Aress going after it. A fight is imminent here, but the Ambassador already very low on HP. The flag and drag forward, and the flash after the Cataclysm will keep Lucid at bay for now. And we can see what Artemis is able to do here on this Caitlyn while left untouched. The ace in the hole taking this Wukong down to about 300 HP before the redemption saves his life. As we see Dplus, they should be happy enough taking away this Otacon without looking for any more blood, and that will be the case. They will go back to base.
The plant differential is very significant here for Dplus. It's 44-3. Can definitely show in levels, as Lucid has been such a beast this game. 7-1-4 on the Wukong, and this is what happens when Wukong gets ahead. His ability to stat check, just given how his Q works. If you get ahead, you know, the more you're autoing, the more Qs you get, the more shred you get. More damage you get with the Trinity Force. You can get that one early on, as Aress going to sneak his way on out of there. But still, showing a 2-level deficit to Siwoo, a 3-level deficit to his counterpart in ShowMaker. As between the lane, the plants, and everything else, the way it's gone, it's been Dplus in this one as Levi sneaks out. But still, pressure on for GAM, and really no way to relieve themselves of said pressure grapes. We haven't really seen any options or any looks where this game has looked close yet. Once Dplus took control at the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, you can definitely feel this mid-game trough in a way for the Caitlyn, especially when you are far behind as a team. You see Artemis trying his best. He's untouched. He has a lethal tempo proc, but the damage, even with that Infinity Edge completed, not enough around that Otacon fight. You have to continue to wait and find more picks across the map if you are GAM, and it looks like that's what's going to be the plan. On to Siwoo, and we'll see if the Ambassador can do anything about it. He flashes away, does not have the ultimate available, but with the red buff ticking, should be able to heal up enough to get away. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we're seeing Tier 2 on the top side, taken here by Lucid and ShowMaker, culling issue to make sure that Artemis is held at bay as well. And now we might see Siwoo try to mess with some backs here. Is going to do that job successfully, as Levi and Kiaya going to be delayed at least for a little bit, but it will come at the cost of his life. Speaking of lives, though, where there's many being lost in the GAM base, we already see Aress and Artemis falling as well, as DK go 2 for 1 on the extended play. The inhibitor going to be the next target.
Great team-wide map play there from Dplus. I know that Siwoo overextended and went down, but at least the rest of his team was able to do something with the numbers advantage there. As going in to stop the bases, it wasn't for naught. The team was able to step up, find a kill, and crack open an inhibitor, as Dplus really continue to sink their claws in this game.
Yeah, that gold lead, almost 9,000 now. You're going to have super minions pushing into the mid lane, which gives really easy map control for that Baron, which spawns in just over a minute's time. Taking a look at how this one got started. Not your classic Orianna combo ball delivery system, but an effective one at that with this Wukong.
Very nice there from Lucid and ShowMaker as they sync up and get to instant engage from the Wukong with that Flash Cyclone. And packing quite the punch with the shockwave behind it, Grapes. Was Dplus, I mean, look, I think comeback mechanics, probably getting Kate to 4 items plus and playing off the Braum, like playing with range, hoping that Dplus has a sloppy fight where they're not able to sync up their tools, but Dplus done a beautiful job of making sure that these shockwaves, I mean, they're either coming with or immediately followed up by the Cyclone, by the Magnet Storm, as Dplus just playing off each other very well as a team.
I was going to say they probably should head towards the Baron, but it's not even spawned yet. That's kind of how far ahead this snowball has been rolling. We see 3 full items on both Lucid and Aiming, and ShowMaker took a bit of a pit stop to both get those upgraded boots and the Medjides, which is, by the way, at 14 stacks, but he'll have that Zanya's up sooner rather than later, sitting at level 17 at this point. Orianna definitely a huge factor into how Dplus have been able to win this game. As Aress, this new mid laner, certainly feeling the wrath of a former world champion in this game 1.
Kiaya's wrapping around. I don't see any vision here for Dplus outside of the wave. So if they kill the wave, then Kiaya has an opportunity to maybe sneak his way in here through the line brush. But if he shows bot, this is going to be quite the uphill battle for GAM. I don't think they can get here in time.
Yeah, I mean, it's already been started up by Lucid and aiming. And
yeah, that's
being
not
taken
even
down
close.
very low just with a
Jeez.
2-man unit. We're seeing a teleport come in from Kiaya, but it's going to be far too late now. GAM are going to have to force a fight instead. Cataclysm is dashed away from by aiming, and that means Levi is going to be in a whole lot of trouble. The Shockwave already finding two, but Artemis gets a kill back. Will not be enough, though, as Siwoo will finish the job onto him. The Cyclone will cancel any chance of an escape with the Realm Warp of Aress, and it's an ace for one in favor of DK. They'll go into the mid lane and take game one of this best-of-3 series.
I think Dplus showed a really good understanding of swaps and why they wanted the swap they took. And in terms of GAM, I think that the single target usage of the Rise was a little bit slow. There was a point in the game where Aress was ahead, but once he fell behind to ShowMaker, no coming back from that one, as ShowMaker played that one out beautifully with Lucid, as this game was ran by the mid jungle of Dplus KIA.
A combined 14, 1, and 16 for your mid-jungle duo of Lucid and ShowMaker, showing why they've been one of the more feared 2v2s in the LCK in the world at times over these past 2 seasons, and getting themselves that win over Levi and GAM Esports. Still some time, obviously, for GAM to come back in this series, but what a look from your LCK reps, who've done a nice job of bouncing back after their recent defeat.
Yeah, again, I think a team that a lot of people are bummed they are not maybe seeing internationally or at that next level, but that was not something that they earned with the play that we saw from them this year. So in group culture, they did their best to show that at times they were contributing to the culture of group culture, which is we're going to watch these games for entertainment, which, I mean, let's face it, ShowMaker and Fearless is one of the most entertaining players that we have on the planet. But at least in this tournament, we have seen Dplus be mostly consistent outside of the day. They didn't have the best series against Weibo. But if you want to make sure that you're smelling the roses, you can write that day off, and everything else has been pretty good, and a good start here for Dplus KIA in this event.
Yeah, the 2-0 over JDG to start things off, definitely a good start for them. Falter to the Mites of Weibo, who continue to be just a head-scratcher for me personally. The fact that they ended up making it out of this group, only losing to JDG, is just a very funny kind of circumstance or case of events here. But regardless, setting up a situation now where Dplus still have an opportunity to get out of this group. And I'm not sure exactly what the tiebreaker situations are. It might be head-to-head. It might be games where we'll see about that. So
it's the winner gets out in second seed for this best-of-3 and the next one that we have here at Grape. So we'll see if Dplus can take care of business and win one out of the next 2 games. To make sure that they get through and not GAM.
Take a look at some highlights here. Of course, ShowMaker, a big part of this, but another big shout out to Lucid as well on this Wukong. I mean, we talk about some young players on GAM side, but on Dplus's side also a bunch of real fun new pieces to watch. Siwoo getting targeted very early, but still being effective in this later game for Dplus as well. Cubby, I know these are 2 players you've been very excited about throughout the last couple of years, and it's fun to see them get to play in this competitive capacity internationally.
It is. You know, I was casting Rahel earlier, covering him in the co-stream as the Dplus Challengers League system. It runs deep. That's a very big impact on the LCK, and has had a huge impact on their team again. I think it's very impressive that this org had a player like Thanatos come through and then let Thanatos go elsewhere and said, no, this is okay because the next player we have coming in we think is better. And again, Siwoo is very, very good as this game 1 really felt like Dplus. I mean, they had a lot of scaling. Lucid got ahead. ShowMaker got ahead. Siwoo got ahead. Scaling advantage in all 3 roles, and they just took care of business from there.
Play the game, no surprise. It's ShowMaker on the Orianna.
Insane
7-0
Aura.
7.
He's projecting an Aurora play, by the way, with bunny ears. Did you ever have anyone in high school go up to you like behind, give you the bunny ears, and be like, "Oh,
of course, yeah,
like,
that's a classic." And I mean, this is
a classic.
He's got both of his teammates waiting for him on the other side. Hey, fun fact: ShowMaker and I have the same Korean last name. How
really?
Line-up actually entirely in the Korean characters. Very rare name, so I always feel a little bit of pride watching my boy pop off here, as this is a clan representative coming in here.
Graves, before we go to break, when was the last time you bunny ears someone? Important question.
Has to be middle school, maybe elementary school.
Not within the last 3-4 years. Come on, like not like one. Just hit him with this.
You know, these days it's just this is like your standard. You know,
well, yeah.
photo
I'm
pose,
guilty
right?
of this. Like at events, just go like but I'm talking like this, you know,
No,
hit someone with the bunny ears.
It's been a while.
I
don't know.
photobombed someone recently. That was fun. Whenever you can photobomb someone, LTA North. I
Oh
found a
really?
couple.
The photo. That's a classic. I used to do that back
Photobomb, yeah.
back in the day as well. If you do some digging, you might be able to find something on some of my personal pages maybe. But anyway, enough with that aside. We're gonna say peace out here. Take a short break. Headed back into game in just a couple of minutes with the draft of Game 2. Dplus up 1-0 over GAM. We'll see you in a sec.